Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, June 11th. So, the landscapers came a little early, and I'm hoping that as I do this, they stay over there so we can get through this and I can get this posted. We'll see how well that goes. Earlier this week, as I was planning worship for June and July, I came across a quote from C.S. Lewis from his book, The Four Loves. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything, and your heart will certainly be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give your heart to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully round with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. It would be no surprise to you if I said I talk about love a lot. Anyone who has heard me preach more than once knows that. And I have found in these last 3 months that the love I have talked about, the love of God and the love of neighbor, the deeply held value that I have of loving all people, has been pushed beyond any boundary I could ever imagine. Because loving all people is hard work. Loving all people right now is really hard work. And some days it seems that it is impossible. Some days I feel like I'm shouting into the wind, love your neighbor, but nobody hears me. Some days I can't love my neighbor. Like the lovely man who sits on his mower and mows all of the green space here in the valley. Did not love him today. Had to bite my tongue. I find right now, these past 3 months, that I'm relearning how to love all people. And some days I just can't. And I really want to be that person who wraps up their heart and puts it away. On those days, I am thankful for my gray roots. Let's see if we can get that focused in there. Don't know if you can see it. Which are going away this morning, but I'll still have my bare toes. These gray roots and my pedicureless toes remind me of my earlier words from a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, about what it means to love each other, what it means to love our neighbor. And it gives me strength to wake up each morning, see those roots, and try again to be open enough to love the world. Dr. Brene Brown, in her book, Braving the Wilderness, talks about having a soft front and a strong back and a wild heart. If you have not read her series of books, Daring Greatly, Rising Strong, and Braving the Wilderness, I highly recommend them. So she talks about this soft front and strong back by pulling on the words and work of Rashi Joan Halifax, who says, all too often, our so-called strength comes from fear, not love. Instead of having a strong back, many of us have a defended front, shielding a weak spine. In other words, we walk around brittle and defensive, trying to conceal our lack of confidence. If we strengthen our backs, metaphorically speaking, and develop a spine that's flexible but sturdy, Then we can risk having a front that's soft and open. How can we give and accept care with strong back, soft front compassion, moving past fear into a place of genuine tenderness? I believe it comes about when we can be truly transparent, seeing the world clearly and letting the world see into us. What C.S. Lewis is talking about, what Jesus calls to when he breaks down the commandments to the two, to loving God and loving neighbor, is a soft-hearted, strong back approach to the world. That is showing up in our vulnerability and our courage, being both fierce and kind. That has never been tested more in me, and I think in the world, than now. I mean, I had thought it had been tested pretty strongly before, but the depths of energy it takes right now to show up is hard. But friends, we must show up. We must be examples of love in this world. We must be vulnerable to each other and courageous. We must be both fierce and kind to each other. We must love each other with our whole heart, mind, and soul and strength. We must, for in that loving, we find healing for ourselves and for the world. There are days, there will be days when that is not possible, when we need to step back. We need a chance to breathe, to find our footing again. But even then, on those days, love is our guide. Love is what tells us to ourself, don't get snippy, sarcastic, or cranky. Don't get teachy and preachy. And when it doesn't say that to ourselves, when we don't say that to ourselves, we seek forgiveness and know God's grace as we work our way forward. These are hard days, friends, and they don't seem to be getting any easier. But let us love fiercely, take time to breathe, and be kind to one another as we make our way.